Okay, today is the Twitter Day. So originally, the suggestion for this week, just check that my recording is working, yep. The suggestion for this week was that I would, so for this challenge, is that I would get someone, people watching my art go past to jump up and down and shout, pick me, pick me, and I would pick one of them. Nobody volunteered. Absolutely nobody volunteered. So I had to reach out to someone who was Twitter famous to do my Twitter Day. And the person who I picked is this amazing handsome devil here. This is Guy Kelly, also known as Brain Mage, also known as, I think it's Dr. Bison Sexhorn. Many names for a very versatile guy. He's sort of comedian, voice actor, probably also actor. He's got a very versatile face, which is why he seemed like a great choice for today. I'm just going to adjust myself in the seat. There we go. So, I'm hoping that this is going to be a good one. Hoping it's going to be... I asked him for a picture, and he sent me this and said, "Is this okay?" And I thought, you know what? That is okay. I can work with that somehow. I do want to capture all of this, so it's going to be quite a tall one on the page. So I feel like the central head should be like here in the middle, so that I can capture all of it. So the head kind of, you can see the shape of that part there. You can see it disappearing up into the hair. And I think it would come down to about there on the nose, so about half again for down by the chin. And the chin is quite pointed, which is sort of almost devilish in and of itself. You see there's this little sort of inflection point here where it comes back out and then goes back in. Only a slight one, but it's worth capturing in the profile just in case. So quite a tall face, quite a tall guy. I first met him doing magic at a show. Well, I was doing magic. He was the compere at a show at Nine Worlds. Funny guy. Then later I saw him at Nine Worlds doing a show called... what was the show called? I think it was called The Last Resort. Basically, it's about nuclear warfare and masculinity. Very, very good show. Very, very deep show. I think he's made it available online. Check him out. I'll put his details in the bio. So it's an odd angle to the head because I feel like he's looking down in this picture, which is kind of useful because, like I said, if you consider the central curve to be there, then the nose kind of comes down to here. And it gives me a nice clean line for the nose. There is literally, I don't have to worry at all about any kind of internal nose shape because it's all there. It's all there on the page, just in that one line. So it's kind of a flat line here, going up and down. That's sort of, just encountering the bottom of the head there. The line for the eyes is quite low in this because he's leaning his head forwards. That's a very stark line in towards the nose. You see, immediately I think I've done something wrong here now because there's quite a long nose there, and that is not high enough. So I'm going to move that nose down a little bit. The joy of using photo references. So if I put the nose kind of here, I'm just going to do it in a simple curve just to get the shape of it right, rather than trying to get the exact profile, because I feel like I spent a lot of time on that just to erase it again. So if the nose is there, this sort of edge of the nose comes up to here, and then like that. I don't know what that part of the eye is called. It's not the eyelid. It's like the sort of the crease above the eyelid almost. And that is almost like a completely straight as a die line across there. And the eyes kind of swoop down from it. So on this side, where the nose comes up, you can see it kind of leans into it a little bit, but then goes straight into that line. And here it comes across and then up. Yeah, that kind of curl there. In fact, it sort of seems to come up and then down again. Like that. And then closes up to there, and there's this dark line. Same on this side, you can see where the sort of... see, there's kind of a central section to the nose that you can almost make out. But then there's this very dark edge here where the eye comes out, and it's... In fact, that actually goes down a little bit there. Like the line of that eye actually comes down and leads straight into the brow. And this brow comes down and just touches the eye and then comes up to like here. Fairly demonic looking fellow, I think you'll agree. I may end up accidentally just drawing a picture of Satan here. So it's got this kind of looking up, looking straight at you even though the head's tilted down almost. And that's kind of, it doesn't even come back inwards, it's literally like a semicircle. Wow. And this is kind of... Then we have mustache zone, from sort of there to there, mouth, bottom of mouth. No top lip, that's really fascinating actually. See, the lip kind of has this almost grimace on it. And there's no top lip, it's just... That's it. That's all you get. And then from here we have sort of just a little imperceptible almost gap, and then the beard comes down into the bottom of the chin, where it sort of, it does kind of grace the head a bit. It does kind of come up into this area, but it's mostly sort of straight down from this side of the head and down into sort of this area. And then the hair obviously comes up here into this just wild formation. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love it, but oh my god, it's going to be hell to draw. There's like a little fringe there, and then the rest of the horn. There's almost a temptation to turn this into horns. Like to literally draw this as a pair of horns on his head, but I'm attempting to do realistic face drawing, not mythical creature drawing. Thus far it doesn't look a lot like him, I gotta say. I'm hoping this all pulls together when I get a bit more detail in there. So that's actually more kind of here. It's interesting how there's... Like, I have a tendency to think of faces as being symmetrical, but this is ever so slightly leaning one way because of the the turn of the head. And it's a very sharp line on top for that eyebrow, and a very... Right, so... This moustache does kind of come down now from the... Almost touches that side of the face. And it's got a very dark area in the philtrum. It's kind of... It sort of touches the lip almost in many places. And here it comes down a little, then immediately arcs back up again. It is a fascinatingly shaped piece of facial hair. That curve there, and that kind of comes down to there. And that's just got a hint below there. So that the hairline here is a really fascinating one, because it sort of comes up from there and from there. This ear is completely hidden. This one you can just see the faintest hint. And it seems really high up. That's probably the head tilt that's doing that, the fact that he's tilting his head forwards. It looks like a really high ear. Because like the lobe of the ear is lined up with this part of the eye. So it sort of comes up here. Now that looks wrong, but I'm going to trust in the wisdom of following my photo reference, and hopefully it'll all work out okay. Yeah. Then we have this kind of... It's hard to say. Is it curly hair? Is it... See, these bits are straight, but these bits look curly. And of course it's all curly down here on the beard. I feel like maybe I'm drawing the beard too large, because the shadow in the photograph is making it look like it comes out larger. But I think that maybe it doesn't actually come that large. I think that maybe it's more refined, and it's just the shadow of the shoulders that's doing that. I mean, of course, I asked for a picture of his face and he sent me a thirst pic. That's just him all over. So this ear has a kind of... It's a very flat shape to it. And the hair comes down into the ear, covers that part, so you really only see that much ear in total. And here there's a definite sort of hair all the way along. There's a little bit of curl there, some sticking out a little bit, and then up here it's all this way. I have no idea what shape the hair is taking in this area, because there's nothing to follow. But I know that it comes out into sort of separate fronds. It splits out a bit at the top here. So that'll help me to define it as this is hair and not this is Satan incarnate, hopefully. That is a bit too much forehead, isn't it? It's really sort of this sort of shape. There's only one harsh corner on there, and it's that one. This kind of comes up here more. And the centre of that kind of follows right up from where the nose is, so... So it's more a flat curve there and a more arched curve there. More pronounced, as it were. Right, this eye is slightly wrong, I think. This comes out here. Drawing this really heavy eyelid is going to be really fascinating, because normally you associate that kind of Like an eye line like this, I would normally say was a very feminine kind of shape because you have the the wings on the eyeliner. But of course, this isn't eyeliner. This is literally just the shape of his face. God, I should have known what I was getting myself into when I asked him to do this. So this does actually come down here a bit, kind of. Right, I feel like I'm not properly capturing the nose. Feels like it needs more. Yeah, because it never actually has like an arc like that. It only ever comes upwards. It comes up, levels off, and then goes up again. Slight down angle there, up, levels off, and then up again. And then curls in like round to here. A bit higher maybe. And this one ends lower because the head's turned that way. And tempted to say that that's a longer down section there. Yeah. This is very much there's a shallower side to the nose on that side. This side is a bit longer because it's turned. And I'm going to give that just a little bit of that kind of definition there. I feel like it needs it. I want to capture this cheekbone. Yeah, now I've not really done much definition on the beard here because I'm not entirely sure how to sort of do that. I feel like it should start there, kind of come down to here, and there's a little bit of fluffing on that side, but there's no fluffing on that side. That head is strictly turned against the beard. So that kind of, it goes in a bit, and then that's because you've got this chiseled jawline with the cheekbone. It feels like there's not enough face on this side. That it does come up at the right angle, but then it should go out a little further maybe. Come to that angle. Yeah. What else am I missing? What will define this face? I feel like maybe a little, actually doing a line there might actually help define that. So this, in many ways it almost looks like a Batman logo, this mustache. Very tempted to lean into that. Because it has this kind of see here the moustache actually almost comes over the mouth line. Stronger area here. Little lift there, but then straight back down again. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm ready to take this to the inks. I may end up coming back from the ink on this one. This feels dangerous. Maybe that's just the face. So the line I want to definitely get in first is this line of the eye. So I feel like that will make or break this face. And this. Chills. And also I'm going to lock in the nose, because I feel like the nose doesn't, it almost doesn't feel long enough, but I feel like I've squished his face up, but I've run out of paper, so I've got to go with it. So essentially, that's the face, hang the consequences at this point. I'm not sure I want to draw the entire full lip underneath, because it's going to be a little bit confusing as to what you're actually seeing there. But I do feel like I want to capture this chin line before anything else. What next? I think this profile line here is going to be the most important one to capture, because this kind of comes from here out for the cheekbone, then back in down to about there. Very narrow definition on the ear. This is tough. This is tough knowing where to go next. So I kind of want to do this as a slightly almost fluffier line to meet in with where the hair encounters the head. And here I feel like it's sort of a bit of the same coming through this way. There's even a little bit of hair that sort of leaches over onto the ear there. This may wind up being one of those images when I spend 90% of the time just drawing bits of hair, trying to get the shape of it right. Of course, we have this slightly fluffy edge on the beard here. I feel like I want to do in the moustache with like sort of shorter hairs kind of overtaking the whole flow of the shape, with like a distinctly darker bit in the middle where you can see it's sort of darker there, and a sort of the feeling of it almost kind of taking over the lip. I'm so tempted to do some extra definition on that lip, but I don't think it's needed. I don't think it's actually needed. Here we have more of the beard, obviously. I'm going to do the brows next, because this is a really fascinating brow. It has this kind of like an arched shape to it. It's quite a dark brow as well. It's got this arch to it. Sort of thins out a little here. And then this one actually comes down and encounters the edge of the eye. And ends a little wider than the first. In fact, it goes actually over further than I've even drawn it here. Sorry, Guy, this may end up not looking an awful lot like you. It's so this I am going to draw these creases on. Actually, I think that they're needed. But actually, what I'm going to do first, I'm going to darken this eye using some lines like I often do, just so that I can capture the fact that it's got that slight shine in it just down there in the bottom, and the same on this side. It's starting to look a bit like an anime villain. So there's some very strong curves and some very sort of loose curves to it. Especially with the fact that there's this one bit of hair there, which kind of gives me a little bit of leeway for getting that wrong. A loop here, a loop here, and there's kind of... It's just sort of fluffy. I'm not sure how to define the fluffy parts of the hair. And here it curls up this way. That's the obvious direction there. So that part's kind of easy to fill with hair coming this way. Same on here, there's this kind of clear curvature. I think it's so hard to tell with this picture, because like I said in the past, often these things don't come out from my printer too well, especially dark areas tend to get subsumed. But I think that the hair has this sort of directional flow this way. Because I think that the parting is kind of here-ish. I get that impression. That's the impression that I get. Is that the parting is kind of there, meaning that we have more flow in this direction than the other, which is why this is so slight on the overlap with the face there. There's a few other curls, but it's mostly straight up from this edge. And where it meets, this kind of this direction here sort of, it almost like flows off from it. So this is flowing up this way and this is flowing in this way. Somewhere in the middle there's like a crossover point which you can't correctly see, so I can't define it too well in the actual thing, because if I define it too well in the picture then you'll be seeing something which isn't there in the original, which is bad. Right, let's get this beard. So I think that the beard, like I said, is not quite as large as I'd initially drawn it. I think it really only comes down this far, and I think it's quite curly as well. So and here the hair kind of it comes out from there, and then the beard comes out from here, and it sort of there's no real gap. It looks almost like it sort of continues out straight on, like there's no clear definition between where the hair ends and the beard starts. Which certainly gives us more direction about what to do here, because now we know to sort of curl this in a bit there. It's more Che Guevara than Karl Marx. That's the beard scale there. There's kind of a darkness that I want to capture to these eyes. Sort of. It's almost like you can kind of see the edge of the eyeball. Now here where this comes in, that sort of striates out a bit, and you have this one here, a little angle there, a very stark line there. I think I've actually made these horns even bigger than they are in the picture, which I'm sure he'll be thrilled about, you know, what they say about the size of a man's horns. Well, that's not how the joke goes. But you know what they say about men with big horns? They wear big hats. Haha. Now that we've kind of got the flow, we can sort of work in there with getting a bit more darkness in the hair. Don't want to do too much though, because I'm wearing down some of my Sharpies a bit more than I intended to with this process of drawing hair. This is the main reason I haven't moved on to doing onto using my new pens, because I bought some new pens to do this with, and I noticed that the widest one is 0.7 mil. A Sharpie nib is somewhere between 1 mil and 2 mil, depending on how you do it. So if I was trying to fill an area of hair this large with a 0.7 mil pen, it would take absolutely for fucking ever. Yeah, I think I've kind of captured it there. I think that's maybe a bit more definition on the ear just there. I don't know, it feels like I don't know, I don't think I've done very well with that ear. I feel like there should almost be hair coming over it as well. But and now that I look closely, I think that I've drawn the lines of this eyebrow coming this way, and they should have come this way. So that's a bit of a pisser. It looks a little bit anime. Maybe that's a good thing. Yeah, I'm going to erase the pencils and see how it looks, because I think think it's kind of done. I'm so tempted to add just a little bit of lower lip there. I'm going to do it. Yeah, I think that helps. Only a little bit, but I think it helps. And I think a little bit of... There's like a dark shadow just under that part of the mouth. Yes. Yeah, I like that. Quite pleased with that. Often I make an addition on these things, and it's not right. You know, you can tell that I've done something wrong, but this feels right. Okay, let's get rid of the pencils and see if there's anything missing when they're taken away. It's quite surprising actually how often a picture will look done, and then you take the pencils out, and you suddenly realise there was some element of how the image was defined that was... It's so strange having all these wrinkles here but not here. It's that turn of the head. There's practically no wrinkling before this. I should go further actually. Quite often you'll have penciled something in as a kind of guideline, and you get to do the actual inking, and after the inking suddenly it looks wrong because one of the guidelines was just giving a hint of extra shape. I seem to have picked up some ink on the end of my eraser. That's not good. I was looking today at the cost of like a graphics tablet with a screen, or possibly to stay lo-fi, some kind of light box so that I could put paper over the pencils and sketch it through like that with zero erasing to do. And I don't know. I feel like I kind of like doing it this low-tech way, where the only technology that I've got on me really is the camera. So what's missing? I think one thing that's missing is there's kind of just here there's a line that kind of comes down there, and I want to capture it, but I'm worried it might be too much, but I'm going to go for it anyway. Just there. There's a hint of one here, but I don't want to do that hard because I don't think you can actually see it. I don't think you can see that one. You can see that one, but not that one. So what else? This needs to come over closer towards that. This brow almost comes into the point where it touches that. Yeah. I think we're done. You know, ordinarily I feel like I elongate the faces too much. Today I feel like I've squashed it. Possibly in an attempt to sort of combat my normal tendencies. So ordinarily I have a tendency to elongate faces, and I've overcompensated to not do that. And so now I've got this squished face. But yeah. That is it Dr. or Professor Bison Sexhorn? God, by now he's probably defined himself as Pope Bison Sexhorn or something. But, you know, there is a little extra something, because there is like a little bit of shadow here, which is so dark that I almost want to just capture it in there. No, that's fucked it. Oh well. You live and learn. Part of the process is to make many, many, many mistakes. And I've made lots of mistakes. Now to learn from them. Self-portrait day tomorrow. Yay! Right, stop touching it up. End the video. See you tomorrow.